Do Big Ten fans hate the prestigious Big Noon Kickoff time on Fox for the biggest football games each week? And does it hurt the Big Ten by not having its biggest games on in prime time? Schedules are coming out. People are talking. Let's discuss. Might be the case here. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below. While you're watching, you'll never miss an episode, plus share, like, and follow. And that will help us both out moving forward. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So, no primetime games for the Big Ten. None of the prime games are making the evening slots with these schedules. We have some recruiting news, and we're going to power rank some mascots. But I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time about this subject. I'm just not getting around to it because some schedules are starting to come out for the 2025 season, TV times and all that. And the Big Ten is set. It's golden. It's got all these lucrative TV deals with all these networks, Fox, NBC, CBS, Peacock, Big Ten Network. The Big Ten has some of the biggest football games each and every week, but they're not in prime time, right? They're not under the lights. They're not in front of a huge national TV audience all the time, or as many times as they could be. Instead, we see them at noon Eastern, Big Noon on Fox. That's 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, by the way. So I started thinking about this again because the networks are drafting which games they're going to get. They got to literally do kind of a draft since there's so many other networks. And this year, Fox got to pick the first two. And they chose the week one matchup with Texas and Ohio State. Great week one game. Everybody's excited about it. Everybody around the country will be watching. And then they picked the last game of the season, Ohio State at Michigan. I would too. Those are the two games I picked. And now this game with the Buckeyes and the Wolverines, look, it's always at noon. So Big Noon Kickoff, it fits. Not a big problem there. This also means that Texas and Ohio State will almost certainly be at noon as well. And that has a lot of fans chattering. They're upset. They want this game. It screams prime time. It's going to be under the lights. No, it's going to be under the sunlight. Now, both teams will likely be in the top five. We'll have a defending national champion in Ohio State, breaking in a brand new quarterback in Julian Sayin. Got Arch Manning now taking over the Texas Longhorns. But Buckeye fans, other than the playoffs, when's the last time you had a night game at home on TV? I don't know. I can't really remember off the top of my head. And Penn State has lost the ability to choose its preferred game for its intimidating whiteout games at Beaver Stadium. I think that's an extra superpower for them. So they like to save it for a big rivalry game, under the lights, crazy fans, all that. They would have liked to have that home field advantage under the lights against Ohio State last year. But TV dictated that game be a day game, and they had to settle on Washington at Penn State for the whiteout later on. And, the cool part of that was, hey, Washington, welcome to the Big Ten. But I think they would have much rather had the Ohio State game be under the lights there in that atmosphere at Beaver Stadium. And I feel like that's a missed opportunity, not only for Penn State, but I think for Big Ten exposure as well, overall in the grand scheme of things. Now, the 2025 schedule has some obvious whiteout possibilities, like the Oregon game. It's a rematch of the Big Ten championship game with the Ducks coming in. I don't know, maybe TV schedules will move that around and they'll have to pick the Indiana or the Nebraska game, which wouldn't be bad games, but not the impact of an Oregon-Penn State game under the lights at Beaver Stadium. So these are the kind of things that we have to maneuver around each and every year, at least the schools do. Now, let me play the other side of the coin here for you. The Big Noon game has been drawing huge ratings earlier in the day. It's kind of changed how we watch college football. But I mean, I think some of those games would be bigger at night. Earlier in the day, families are running kids around to soccer games and running errands and grocery shopping, and they settle in later, on the couch in front of the TV for the late afternoon game. Um, CBS used to have a gold mine with the SEC 3:30 Saturday afternoon. It bled into early evenings. The sun was set earlier each week as we got deeper and deeper into fall. It was great. It was a great soundtrack background, just having it on. The Big Ten's missing out on that, I think, sometimes. Sometimes its audience isn't ready to hunker down at noon or on the West Coast at 9 in the morning. So, and then I know we got Big Ten Saturday night on NBC, which is great. It's great production. It really is. So far, it hasn't matched up put up a lot of great matchups together. Sometimes it has, but sometimes it feels like, oh, these are the leftover games. And then there's the whole Peacock thing too. Although we did have, I think, the game of the year last year under the lights with Ohio State at Oregon. That was the most important game of the year. It was a big game. That one was under the lights, deservedly so. And so this isn't a every time black and white situation. This is in generality, though. Big Ten's putting its big games on at noon and not at nighttime. As far as the pregame shows leading into these games, Fox's Big Noon Kickoff pregame show, Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Brady Quinn, Matt Leinart, very good. In fact, really good. It gets good ratings. Nice lead into the games. And in fact, they took a chunk out of ESPN's traditional ESPN game day broadcast. Desmond Howard and Lee Corso, who's finally retiring. Kirk Herbstreit. A couple years ago, Fox started beating him in the ratings. That's the reason why you see Nick Saban and Pat McAfee on that anchor desk now. They needed a boost, and they got it. So now we got some ratings wars going on between these two. But the 2-decade monopoly that ESPN had for pregame earlier in the day has faded away to Fox. And, maybe that's where Fox has a little bit of an advantage here because they have the good lead-in pregame show going right into their noon game with Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt, who I love, by the way, as a football analyst. ESPN does all their morning pregame hype, and then they hit pause, and then Herbstreit gets on a private jet somewhere, and they get ready for the primetime game, 7 hours later. So I'm generally curious about you guys, and I want you to hit me up with the comments on this. Are you frustrated as a Big Ten fan that a lot of the primo games are really early in the day on Saturdays? Or are you okay with it? Again, noon Eastern, maybe you're not settled on. You West Coast people, 9 o'clock a.m., big game. You want to catch up on the rest of the Big Ten? If the Oregon Ducks are playing at 9 a.m., UCLA, 9 a.m. games out there? I was just kind of curious what you think. It's not going away. It is successful enough that it will stay. It's changing viewing habits on how we consume college football in the 4 broadcast windows throughout the day. But let me know what you think. I don't know if you've given this much thought up until now, but when they announced that Fox is going to be doing the Texas-Ohio State game, I noticed initially it said noon, and then they took that noon part out. So on their announcement, I don't know what they're going to do with that game, but more than likely that'll be a noon game. Let me know what you think about that. Hit me up in the comments on YouTube. Also, before you do anything else, hit that free subscribe button down below. And that way you'll never miss an episode, and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts go there, but there's a link at the bottom where you can buy Big Ten merchandise from your favorite Big Ten team, getting you ready for the 2025 season with some school spirit. Hit that up at talkbig10.com. Coming up, we got a lot of news still, a lot of recruiting news. It's fun now. Wins and losses in recruiting. Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, USC, all going for the same players. And players are making decisions now for the class of 2026. Plus, Penn State got a wide receiver. Another one. That's always good for them, right? Plus, we're going to have some fun with our weekly power rankings. Today, we're going to do Big Ten mascots. That's always fun. We'll do all that here coming up in just 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, NBA playoffs, hand in hand. These playoffs are in full swing now. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major performance shifts, can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game, either before tip-off or live in-game betting, whether they be player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. I like to keep an eye on Tyrese Halliburton. He is a star in the making for very eyes for the Pacers. Celtics, Jason Tatum. I'd stay away from the Celtics now. That's looking pretty good for the New York Knicks moving forward there. But how would you do with a $200 bonus in bets? And that's your excitement of watching the games. If your first $5 bet wins, if you're brand new to FanDuel. If you are new to FanDuel, perfect time to set up and sign up right now. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Well, thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you very much. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below, please, and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts and your school merchandise right there at your fingertips. All right, let's get into the recruiting battles. They are heating up. This class of 2026 is crazy. All right, let's start off with 4-star corner Jordan Thomas. He committed to Ohio State this week. He's the number 17 rated quarterback in the class of 2026 in the country. He joins Jacob Witherspoon as the two corners from that class. Thomas is from New Jersey. He chose the Buckeyes over Notre Dame and Michigan and Auburn and Texas A&M. So a lot of people were interested in him. He is the former teammate of Buckeyes wide receiver Quincy Porter. And Ohio State now has 13 verbal commits from the class of 2026. 4 of them are defensive backs. So really making an investment in the future in their secondary here. So continue to keep an eye on the Buckeyes. Meanwhile, Penn State. This is breaking. I probably should have led the show with this. They added a 4-star wide receiver to its class of 2026. Finally getting some receivers there at Penn State. Davion Brown announced he's coming to Happy Valley. He's a 6'1" receiver. He made an unofficial visit during the blue-white spring game. He was also considering Duke, Georgia, Michigan, and Virginia Tech. And he is the Nittany Lions' 17th commit from the class of 2026. So that class is building up. Last year in Virginia, where he plays high school, he had 42 catches, 946 yards, 10 touchdowns, and totaled 1,200 all-purpose yards. So could be a new weapon for James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Also, class of 2026 star corner Andre Clark. He likes Ann Arbor. That's what he said. He said there's something about Ann Arbor. Kind of reminds him of home a little bit. And he said Michigan is at the top of his list. Although there has been no formal announcement as of yet, but he did say that Ann Arbor felt like home, and he also liked the Michigan coaching style. It stood out to him. He liked it. He watched it. In fact, he watched some assistant coaches get after some guys. And he liked it. He liked the accountability. So that stood out to him. And he still has an official visit to Michigan again, still coming up. Also Kentucky, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. And he's already visited SMU. You know, I hear that a lot when kids say, all right, this is my Final Four, my Final Six, whatever. I'm going to visit this school and that school. There's always a little SMU at the end. So they've been spending money, name, image, and likeness, and trying to make themselves, well, they did. They made themselves relevant last year, all of a sudden out of nowhere. Sitting there in the ACC now. Still weird. Anyway, Clark will make his decision later on this summer. Still going to make all those visits. And last week we announced that 5-star edge rusher Richard Wesley announced that he was going to Oregon. It was kind of a big deal. Remember? He's considering a lot of big schools, and he decided he was going to go to Oregon. In fact, he jumped in the pool with Dan Lanning and made his announcement while he was up there making a solo visit. He's a national top 10 prospect. And that was all great. A lot of people talked about it. We announced it here. Seemed like it was a done deal. But then his father, Jonathan, spoke. So our son's decision came as a surprise to me, to us. He suggested the deal's not done until the deal's done. And he said that there was a plan in place. We were going to visit these schools. We're going to stick to that schedule. He suggested that his son got caught up in the moment of the excitement there with Dan Lanning and jumping into the pool and making an announcement. And Dad says we're still making official visits with other schools. They remain on our schedule. It includes an intriguing visit with Texas. This is starting to sound like a bit of a mess. Sometimes that happens. These dads get involved and things get a little messy sometimes. So, kid wants to go to Oregon. Dan Lanning thinks he's going to Oregon. Dan Lanning might want to make another phone call or two to the dad. Sort this out a little bit. All right, let's stay out west here for a minute. So, five-star wide receiver Xavier Griffin. He's been part of Lincoln Riley's top-rated class of 2026. They are just phenomenal. Phenomenal. There have been some rumors about Griffin flipping to Kirby Smart and Georgia. He's from Georgia. Griffin, in fact, is rated as the third best player in Georgia right now. Now, he insists that he's locked and loaded and ready to go to USC. He is committed. He loves the entire number one rated recruiting class that they have up there. And he wants to continue to be a part of it. And he wants to go against that USC defense and practice and develop his game every day. And he said, really, there's nothing Georgia could do right now to make me change my mind. Except, these kids change their mind every 5 seconds. Or what did we say in yesterday's podcast? That USC's got like 28 kids signed up. All of them aren't going to come. There's going to be some flips. There's going to be some minds changed. It's going to be some new name, image, and likeness money luring some people away. And maybe if too many get lured away, a few more leave. So nothing's done till it's done. But as right now, Xavier Griffin says he's committed to Lincoln Riley and USC. And then I saw an interesting story about Northwestern. They announced a big athletic department hire. The university is bringing in Cincinnati Bengal scout Christian Sarkeesian. And he's going to be the program's general manager. These schools are hiring general managers now to manage all this stuff. And he'll oversee name, image, and likeness, among other things. And he's got a master's in sports administration from Northwestern. His grandfather, Alex, played center and linebacker for the Wildcats. And grandpa let him do a Rose Bowl back in 1949. A Rose Bowl win in 1949. So he's got Northwestern in his blood. He's going back, and he's going to enjoy all that. Don't forget, Friday, we start up with women's softball in the NCAA tournament. Michigan won the Big Ten tournament 2 years in a row. They're taking on Central Florida on Friday. Also, Oregon went in the regular season. They got Weber State. 8 Big Ten teams making it in. Pretty impressive. A record 8 Big Ten teams into the NCAA softball tournament. All right. If you are new to our podcast, first of all, hit that subscribe button, please. We always like to close out with some pretty cool features. No other podcast nobody does this. Monday, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. We list them, we rank them. Tuesday, we do Tuesday tweets from X. Follow us on Twitter. And put a list of about a dozen amusing tweets together for Tuesday tweets. Wednesday, we like to power rank stuff. Thursdays, we look at the Big Ten Network and their schedule over the weekend and pick out some highlights from Big Ten Classics and live action, and we do some picks or odds on Friday. So here around the middle of the week, we are going to do our power rankings. We have some fun with this. Usually we do some kind of standings or positions or whatever. We're going to do Big Ten mascot power rankings, the ones that we think are the coolest ones. You may disagree. depending on what your favorite school is. We're going to do all that right here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. We'll see where your school ranks. All right, here we are. Locked On Big Ten. We're going to do power rankings of mascots. I'm going to put this on screen if you are on audio only. No problem. We will describe. It's just going to be a list. Pretty simple here today. We always try and describe these things. Number one on our list, I love the Oregon Duck. I'm glad Oregon is in the Big Ten now. I think this is very cool. I love how he travels out on the motorcycle at the beginning of the games. So, and travels around the country. I wonder if he's going to do that again. Last summer, when Oregon was new to the Big Ten, he traveled into every football stadium in the Big Ten to announce Oregon's arrival. Big Ten Media Days. Can you see the Oregon Duck out in Vegas? They're having the Big Ten Media Days in Vegas this year. Maybe he'll drive out there on his motorcycle down from Oregon. Anyway, number one, hands down, in my opinion. USC, between Tommy Trojan and Traveler the White Horse, kind of the combo. I think that with the tradition there, we got them at number two. And, we've done this before. I think I've moved them up significantly since before we did this last year. Michigan State, just a solid-looking mascot with Sparty. Got the Roman soldier look ready to go. Kind of a running theme, the Roman soldier look, if you will, with the Trojans and Michigan State and Rutgers, the Scarlet Knight. We got him on this list here. Ohio State's Brutus the Buckeye is a classic, very recognizable, gets a lot of run when they are on national TV, of course, each and every week. Very easy to spot. So and he's a great mascot. I put Wisconsin's Bucky Badger up here. Now, I think Bucky Badger is one of a couple that kind of need not a facelift, but a redo, kind of a little more modern with the times. Bucky Badger is very scary looking. If you want to get a small plush Bucky Badger doll for your kid, if you're up there at Camp Randall, this one's a little scary looking. Might want to soften it up a little. Scary on the football field, but I don't know if you want them so scary with the kids. Then Iowa, number 6, Herky the Hawk. I think very underrated because, he's a hawk. He's got the dark feathers. It goes great. He wears the uniform. Got the black jerseys, the gold pants. He looks fantastic. And then I got, as I mentioned earlier, Rutgers, Sir Henry the Scarlet Knight, very solid looking mascot. So we got them in the top 7. And number 8, going with Washington and Harry the Husky. He also dons the jersey. Looks good in the purple. It's really a good looking mascot. Number 9, more of a traditional, this old throwback Pac-12, but UCLA's Joe Bruin. Not a bad looking mascot as well. Cracks our top 10 at number 9. Northwestern, Willie the Wildcat does not get enough run. They've had this mascot since 1933. It cracks our top 10 for best Big Ten mascots. What do you think about this list so far? All right, let's see what we got. The best of the rest. The final 8, as I like to say. Here we go. We switch the page. All right. Purdue. Like Purdue. Purdue Pete. I don't know. He's got a giant head. Super giant head. And easy to spot. Between that, the world's biggest drum and the train, I don't know. They need to kind of get that dialed in. But I give him a little run here. Put him at number 11. They need some help on the football field, though. Number 12, Nebraska's Herbie Husker. It's a good-looking mascot. It's got the overalls and the giant hat and all that. Pretty fun. Pretty harmless, if you will. At number 13, we got Maryland. Testudo Turtle. Kind of like a Ninja Turtle, really. So maybe we should have it ranked higher than 13. Any Maryland fans out there, let me know. Minnesota with Goldie the Gopher coming in at number 14. I do like the color scheme of Minnesota. It looks good. Illinois. They got Kingfisher since 2020. They don't know what they're doing. They're finding a Illini. They don't know what they're doing with their mascot, and this hasn't really caught on just yet. But I do have them at number 15 because they have a mascot. Penn State has a mascot. We got them at number 16, the Nittany Lion. Been around since 1904, which is my problem because that mascot costume looks like it's been around and dug out of a closet somewhere from 1904. It looks beat up. We need a facelift. We need to freshen up the Penn State Nittany Lion so I can move that mascot. Do you guys agree with me, Penn State fans? Looks worn out and beaten down. Looks like you got moths would fly out of it or something. And then rounding out Indiana and Michigan because they don't have stadium mascots. Only two teams in the Big Ten that don't. First of all, Indiana. I went to Indiana. I'm still not certain what a Hoosier is. I mean, and how would you even make that a mascot? Just some guy? I don't know. And Michigan, obviously, with Wolverine, but they don't have any kind of Wolverine costume at all roaming the sidelines. So they're at the bottom of the list. Indiana and Michigan. Winding it down. All right, that is our list. I always take comments on what you think about that. So hit me up on that at any time. We'll love to get your opinion on that. Always having some fun with that right here. All right. This podcast, tell your friends about us. Okay. First of all, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button right now. We're this close to 18,000 subscribers. We're pushing for 20,000 for the start of football season. Started with 1,000 less than 2 years ago. Thank you. Hit us up on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. There's our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts are, and you can have links to buy merchandise from your favorite Big Ten school. But yeah, whatever you do, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. We also ask you to share, follow, and like. And also, word of mouth is fantastic. I know you watching right now, listening right now, that you have friends or relatives that are Big Ten alum that don't even know we're out here every single day. And what you could tell them is what is most unique about this podcast. It's the Big Ten. We have an audio version and a video version. It's all 18 teams. It's news, analysis, and opinion about that news. We're not afraid to give our opinion here ever. And we always ask yours as well. That's what makes us different from all other podcasts out there that cover the Big Ten each and every day. Feel free to hit yesterday's podcast. If you miss it for a second listen, always invite you to catch up. You can also check out our friend Brian Smith on the Portal Show, get you up to date, all the movement coming, going with your favorite team. It's hard to keep track. He does a great job. Brian Smith and the Portal Show on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you for joining us. I never take it for granted. Thank you for joining us. I can't wait till we meet again tomorrow. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.